So welcome everybody. My name is Mel Brown and I'm the Community Engagement Librarian Sustainability at Hobsons Bay Libraries, and I would like to welcome you to tonight's EnviroCentre event. I would like to begin by acknowledging that depending on where you join me from tonight, we are potentially gathered on the traditional lands of many peoples. From my home, I host you from the lands of the Mademoiselle Organic, a clan of the Wurundjeri people, and I would like to pay respects to their elders, past, present and emerging, as well as those of the wider Kulin Nation, whose boundaries cover the Hobsons Bay City Council area, where many of you are likely joining us from tonight, but not excluding all traditional owners whose lands we may be communally standing on this evening. Council acknowledges that long before this area was known as Hobsons Bay, our First Nations people had named its places, hosted ancient ceremonies where learning flourished, where knowledge and resources were exchanged, and where healthy communities and relationships were sustained and adapted to changing environments. We recognise the unique role that diverse Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders peoples from many lands continue to play in the life of our city. We pay homage to that this evening, coming together to learn and to share, to sustain and to adapt. So just a little bit of housekeeping for tonight. We will be recording, so please feel free to turn your cameras off if you don't want to be recorded, and pop your name. You can right click and change your name to something else if you would like. We will be having some question time during the event, so you are welcome at that time. I will call on people to take their cameras off on and turn their microphones on as well. If you'd rather ask a question but not be on video yourself, please pop it in the chat, and I'm happy to ask it for you if you would prefer. So we are going to be keeping everybody muted during tonight's event. Only because then that also helps with any background noise that might be happening. So we will unmute when it comes time for questions. So I'll have a couple of questions during tonight's event after both of our little DIY shifts that we're going to do today, and then at the end as well. So please feel free to hold on to those questions, pop them in the chat, and I'll keep track of them during the event. Now, just a little bit of an update before we do get started. For those of you in Hobsons Bay, you may already know our return chutes reopened on Monday the 14th of September. So anything you do have on loan can now be returned through those chutes, but everything has been extended until the 26th of October. So don't feel that you have to come out. If you're going out for the other 4 reasons to leave your home, you're welcome if you're coming past the library to drop them off, but there's no pressure to do that at all. Now, we also did recommence our book delivery and the home library service on the 14th of September as well. Please keep in mind though, for the 5 weeks we were closed, we had over 1,000 books reserved. So we are doing our best to get them out to homes as quickly as possible. But with current restrictions, we're only allowed 2 people on site at the moment as well. So it is taking a little bit longer than what the home delivery was pre-closing for the second time. So just please bear with us. We'll get them out to you as soon as we can. But tonight's event is, of course, why we're here. We know that with the zero waste movement, many people are trying their hands at making their own products at home to especially avoid that plastic packaging. So tonight's event delves into the arena of personal beauty products, often that come in small packaging that isn't available for recycling from curbside collections. Mademoiselle Organic started in 2016 as an online blog on organic and natural beauty. The founder, Lily, is a Franco-Australian living in Melbourne who's very passionate about healthy beauty, and she's here to share some of her recipes with us tonight. So I'm now going to hand over to Lily. And if you like, you can right click on Lily, or you can long click, and that'll give you an option to pin her, so she's big on your screen as well. Thank you, Lily.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for welcoming me tonight. Can you hear me okay, Mel? That's good, yeah? Okay. So I'm Lily. So like Mel explained, I run the Mademoiselle Organic website. And so I'm very passionate about making DIY, so making your own products. So I teach skincare, hair care, lots of different things. And what's really important to me is that so that it gives you the power to kind of customize it to yourself. So everybody's skin, everybody's body is different. And that's why when you make your own, you kind of can make something just for you, not something that has been made for everybody else. So if you have any questions after the class, after trying the recipes, and you want something, I don't know, if you have questions that are more personal, I'll give you my email address and you can always email me. But yeah, I hope this little class will give you the confidence to make some nice products at home and have fun doing that and find something that works for you as well. All right, so we're going to get started. I'm just going to... yeah, all right. All right, so we'll start with the deodorant. So for the deodorant, you're going to need a clean, empty jar. It can be anything really. This is mine is pretty small because I've been making a lot of deodorant during classes lately. So I've got so many deodorants, so I'm making a very small one today. But this is a cosmetic jar used to contain a lotion. If you can reuse, that's great. So you can reuse old jars, you can reuse, so this used to contain jam, so now it contains sugar, but you can use that type of things to make deodorant as well. Whatever you can find. Try and avoid aluminium because it can react with the baking soda. But plastic, glass, ceramic, all of that is fine. These are the jars I usually use, but as I said, today I'm going to make a small one. So you'll need some baking soda and you'll need some coconut oil melted, arrowroot powder. You can use cornstarch as well, so corn flour, if I'm pronouncing that word right. Whenever I say it, it actually sounds like flour. It's really tricky. So yeah, corn starch or corn flour, or yeah, arrowroot powder. Both of them are fine. And you can also use some essential oils as well. Quick words about essential oils if you want to use them. So some of you are probably aware of that. There's some safety guidelines to keep in mind with essential oils. If you don't use them, if you are making a product for children or babies, don't use them if you're pregnant or breastfeeding as well. So I'm breastfeeding, so I'm not using any essential oils. So that's just something to keep in mind as well. And some essential oils are as well, they are photosensitive, so they make your skin more sensitive to UV light, which you don't really want here in Australia. So these are the citrus oils. So lemon, orange, bergamot, these oils that smell like citrus, they make your skin more sensitive to UV light. So it's not really good for good oils for a deodorant. So don't use them for products that you're going to make and then go out with, okay? But any other oils are fine. For the deodorant, you can use, so lavender and tea tree are good for the smell of sweat. And otherwise, the geranium, that's really good so geranium, ylang-ylang, these oils are astringent. So what they do, they close the pores, so less sweat can go out. So if you're sweating a lot, these are good oils for you as well. So geranium, clary sage, ylang-ylang are good ones for that. Okay, but that's just some ideas. Whatever essential oils, if you decide to use them, pick something you like because you're going to smell it all day. So that's pretty important. Trust me, because otherwise it's going to give you a headache and you don't want that. All right. Let's get started on a little deodorant. So first of all, I'll talk about, so the two main ingredients in deodorants are baking soda and arrowroot powder. The reasons, I'm going to talk about the reasons why we use them, because as I said at the start, it's important you understand how to customize it, and especially deodorants, you can really play with the recipe as much as you want. But to be able to do that, you kind of need to understand why we use each ingredient. So bicarb soda, this one we use because it's antibacterial, and so it kind of fights against the bacteria that gives a bad smell to the sweat. So if you're someone who finds you have smelly armpits, and so then this is your best friend, bicarb soda. But if you're someone who with your sweat doesn't smell much, you can actually use a lot less, okay, than in the recipe. So that's how you customize it, kind of. So if you want to control the smell more, you put more. If you don't need it as much, you put less. Okay, that's perfectly fine. Bicarb soda is wonderful in deodorants. It's really, really nice. It works really good. The only thing is it has a very high pH. So sometimes it can irritate the skin. And if that happens, so you can try and use less. Otherwise, the alternative is white clay. Okay, white clay is not as efficient, but it still works pretty well. All right. So that's why we use this one, the bicarb. The arrowroot powder or the cornstarch, cornflour, we use to control the amount of sweat. So what they do, they absorb humidity. Okay, so if you sweat a lot, you want to use more. If you don't sweat a lot, you can use less. That's how you customize it. Okay. Arrowroot powder, it's also used, so it's used a lot in vegan and organic cosmetics. As mineral makeup, it's used to bind the powders together. It's also used to create a soft touch for cosmetics, so it doesn't feel as oily. Okay, so it produces like a dry kind of touch. All right, so that's interesting if you want to work on the texture of your deodorant or how it feels when you apply it. But yeah, as I said, the main reason we use it is to control the amount of sweat. But you can also use it for that, to make a texture that's a little bit less oily and more, that feels more dry. Yeah? All right, so these are the two main ones. And they are the ones you'll find in almost all natural deodorants on sale in Australia. They are the ones you need for to control the sweat and the smell. Then what you can do after that is play with the texture of your deodorant. So how do you like it? Some people actually like powder deodorant. So all they do, they take a little bit of this, put it in a jar, mix it with a little bit of this, and then every day they get a little bit, sometimes with some water from the tap, and they put it under the armpits. That's, I find it's a bit messy, but one of my best friends, she does that because that's all you need. Like from a deodorant perspective, it's just the texture I find is as a powder, it's a bit messy. So what you can do is make a paste instead, and that's what we're going to be doing with the oil. All right, so the purpose we're going to use the coconut oil, and the purpose of this is just to create something that's a little bit easier to apply, okay, on your skin. But you can always play with the texture if you know how to make body balm and body moisturizers, so which are a mix of oils and waxes. You can do that as well. Okay, so you can experiment with the texture that you want as well. You can use a different oil than coconut oil if you like. Yeah, you can be as creative as you want, but what you're looking for is something that feels nice when you're applying it. And coconut oil is really good. The only thing I don't really like about it is it changes with the temperature. So actually in summer, if we ever get to summer, it's not such a big deal, but in winter, like this last week, it tends to get pretty solid, so it's not as nice to apply. So if that happens, if your deodorant gets too solid, just put it under some hot water from the tap, and that will help melt it down again, the coconut oil. Yeah. All right, but that's basically how you do it. To give you an idea, so for instance, this is like a brand that you buy. So this is a vegan and organic brand. And if you look at ingredients, that's what it contains: arrowroot powder, it contains white clay, and it contains bicarb soda, which are there to work on the body to make it a good deodorant. And then the rest of the ingredients are just there to make a nice paste. Okay? All right. You can also make solid ones. That's the ones I've been teaching lately. As you can see, I've got a lot. But that's just playing with the texture. The ingredients that work, they are the same. All right. So let's get started. So you can grab your jar. In my case, it's this little small one. And I'm going to give you a recipe. But as I said, if you want to customize it, I would recommend try and follow the recipe now. Try it and see how it feels. Okay. If you find it's not enough to control the amount of sweat, then you just add some arrowroot to it. If you find it's not enough for the smell, then you can add some bicarb to it. So you can always customize it after, but just try this recipe and see how you go, and then customize it to yourself. And it should be something, it should feel like when you apply it, it shouldn't irritate your skin too much. If it does, just reduce the bicarb or use white clay, and it should work. Okay. I've had a student, she once told me she made this recipe for a boyfriend who's an athlete, and he runs a lot, and he said it's the best thing he's ever tried. So it should work. If it doesn't work, send me an email. Okay. All right. So we'll start by so some of you were talking about the quantities, and the way I like to teach these recipes is because it's confusing if I start talking in terms of spoons or cups, because everybody has different cups and different spoons. So we're going to measure the quantities using your container, so using your jar. So we're going to fill the jar, we're going to fill half of it with the baking soda, and then a quarter of it with the arrowroot, and then we top it up with the coconut oil. Okay? So half of it of baking soda, a quarter, so half of what's remaining, of arrowroot powder, and then you top it up with the oil, and then you mix it. Okay, and that's why it's also easier when the coconut oil is melted. It's a lot easier to mix it. All right, started. And it doesn't need to be exact. Like, aim for these quantities, but if it's a little bit too much or a little bit less, it's okay. If it's not an advanced chemistry course.
I used to be a science teacher, Lily. I don't do well with not exact measurements.
Really?
While everyone's making them as well, I would love if you could jump onto our Facebook page and post a picture of your finished product as well. I think I'd love to see how everyone's going. Doesn't need to be tonight. It can be over the next couple of days.
Melissa, can I ask you if that's okay? Is that oil?
Sorry, can you say that again?
Is this oil okay? It's liquid.
I can't see. I think you've got your camera turned off.
Is it okay? It's like a liquid coconut oil.
It should be okay, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah, it should be fine, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so I've just added my arrowroot powder and then adding some oil, dripping. Okay, so I've just finished mine. I'll show you the texture on my hand. So I know it's hard to see, but you just want something that's a bit pasty, like a paste, and all you're looking for, and you can test it, you just want to check that when you apply it, it's easy to apply it, basically. It's easy to spread on the skin. And you can add a few drops of essential oils to that as well, if you like. Sorry, I forgot to say that. It really depends on the size of your containers, but I wouldn't go more than 4 or 5 drops. And essential oils, always add them slowly. So add a little bit and smell and see if it's not too strong, because honestly, it's really easy to put too much. And after that, it's too much. So it will give you a headache. You just want something light, and you don't want also for a deodorant, you don't want something that can be smelled at the other side of the train station.
So Lily, we've got a question about how do you make it solid?
The solid one, so it's just a texture that's different, basically. So same ingredients, but we use a wax. So instead of using the coconut oil, we make, if you're familiar with lotion and massage bars, it's the exact same thing. So we basically mix some oil with some wax. So I use a vegan wax because all my classes are vegan. But yeah, that's all we do. So we mix some oils with some vegan wax and it creates something solid. So we mix the oil, the wax, we melt it just like the coconut oil. We add everything to it, the bicarb and the arrowroot powder, and then we wait for it to become solid again.
And Lily, we have another question. Can you show us the texture again? Somebody said that they think theirs is a bit runny, and I think mine's a little bit runny as well.
If it's runny, you can top it up as well. So you can add a little bit more arrowroot powder to it. And don't forget as well, the coconut oil will solidify a little bit. So if it's a little bit runny, it's actually good because otherwise it's going to be too solid. So that's my texture. It's really like a paste, kind of. So, and it's gone.
And can you repeat the essential oils you recommended earlier?
Yeah, so essential oils. So most important thing, pick one you like. And then some oils that are good for deodorants. So for the smell, so you want something that fights against the bacteria that causes the smell, just like we used the bicarb soda for that reason. So you want, so the best essential oils for that are tea tree and lavender are good for that. Tea tree is Australian, so if you want something Australian, tea tree is great. And then if you want something more against the quantity of sweat, so you can use an oil that's astringent, so it helps to close the pores, so less sweat can leave. So in these oils, you've got Clary Sage and geranium, which are really good for that.
Okay, a few more questions coming through. Lily, with the solid bar of deodorant, how do you apply on your body?
It melts on the body. It melts on the body. They're really good ones for that. That's
so you just
another one.
apply like you would a soap?
Yeah. So because so the ingredients, it's just like coconut oil. It kind of melts at body temperature. So yeah, but it doesn't work better than the deodorant we're making today. Just the texture is different, so it looks a little bit more fancy.
You would still need to moisturize it in, would you?
What do you mean?
Like after you use the bar, would you still need to rub it in?
The bar. The way, so I'm not sure I understood the question, so I'll explain how I use it. So I just take it and I just rub it and that's it. Okay. So I use it like a normal deodorant.
We've had a question can we see you mixing your jar?
Okay. So mine is already done, but so I'm using the back of the spoon because I've got a very small jar. Yeah, like that. But you're not trying to make mayonnaise, you're not trying to make fancy eggs. You just want to mix it so that it's easy to apply after.
We've had a question about a recipe for the solid deodorant.
So the solid deodorant, I actually, because I teach it in another workshop. But if you want, I can send you. I think I've got a blog post about how to make massage bars, and it will explain how you can actually how you can get that texture. So you can just make that massage bar and then add these ingredients. But is it possible, Mel, to send that link after?
I'm just looking on your blog website now.
Let me find it. It's a very, very old post.
That's okay. I can definitely send it out to those people registered tomorrow, so we don't need to look for it right now.
I'll send it to
later.
You. I'll find it. It's a very old one. So it's an old recipe, but yeah, I'll send it to you. And that's a good way you can investigate different textures. But what's important, if you get it wrong, you can always fix it. So if you've put too much oil, you can put more of the rest. If you haven't put enough oil, you can put more oil. Yeah, that's perfect, Mel. And when it's if the coconut oil makes it too solid in the end as well, you can always add more oil as well, or you can add a different oil to it as well. It's really something you can play with, and make it fun when you play with it, because you can always fix it. So make it fun, and if you can't fix it, send me an email. I'll fix it for you.
And I did put Lily's email in the chat, but I can send that out to people as well tomorrow. So I'll put those two things on my...
So honestly, if you can ask questions now, but yeah, if you have more personal questions, things that you don't want to ask, and also questions on different things that we're going to talk about, you can always email me, and if I can help, I'm more than happy to.
I'm going to have very unsweaty hands now.
They should be unsweaty and soft after that, because we're going to make this probe after. So.
I've got a question from Kath. Is it the 3-minute cheese and coconut lotion bar?
It is, I think. I haven't looked at it in a very long time, so I hope it doesn't look too bad. But yes, it is that.
Excellent. Oh, there it is. 3-minute sheet. Yeah, I will pop that in the chat.
So that just shows you how you can create a more solid texture. And it's the same thing. If you get it wrong, you can always melt it's called a lotion bar or a massage bar, and you can always melt it and fix it. So, and DIY should be, it should be fun, and it should work, and it should be fun. So that's two very important things to keep in mind. And it shouldn't take too long of your time too. I think I'm one of the laziest persons around. And so what I teach, I try to teach stuff that doesn't take too long. So yeah.
Any other questions before we move on to our next item for tonight? No, I think let's continue on, and if any questions come up, we can ask them at the end.
Yeah. Oh, good. All right. So I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, I hope you have fun using it. Yeah. And yeah. Hope you enjoyed it. All right. So we're going to move on to the scrubs. So scrubs. So, oh, thank you, Caroline. So scrubs. So a few things. So just like deodorants, I'm going to talk a little bit before. Not too long, I promise. So thank you so much for feedback. And so scrubs. So what's important to know about scrubs? So what's important to know is you need to. So scrubs are different for face and body. The main reason is if you get it wrong on the body, very often you may get a little bit of red skin, but that's pretty much it. If you get it wrong on the face, then it can scar the face, etc., etc. So because the skin is a lot more sensitive on the face. So on the face, you always want to use something very, very, very gentle. On the body, you can go a little bit stronger. And what we're going to be making today is a body scrub. It's very similar to if you've bought before coffee scrubs. I don't know if you bought coffee scrubs before, but they're pretty popular. And if you look at the back, if you look at the label, what they contain is coffee grounds and oils. So a scrub is made, so to make a scrub, you make a base, and then you add to it some exfoliating powders. And you pick your base, and you pick your exfoliating powders. As a base, today we're going to use the coconut oil, but you can use a lot of different oils. So, and because it's on the body, don't go for expensive oils. Okay. Go for, so I'm from the south of France. I'm a big fan of olive oil. I put olive oil everywhere. But yeah, choose oils from the kitchen, coconut oil, all of these oils you can use as a base, okay, for your scrub. And in terms of exfoliating powders, so for the body, so you can use salt, but salt is very, very strong. So salt is actually really good for feet. And what I like to do, well, what I used to like to do before I had a baby and when I had time for myself, which is not the case anymore, but anyway, what I like to do was, so you just mixing some salt with some oil, and then you put that on the feet, and then you put the feet in a bucket of hot water, and the salt dissolves, and here you've got a foot bath. So that's 2 in 1, scrub and foot bath. So that's when you want to use salt. Today we're going to be using coffee and sugar. Okay. If you don't have one of these two, just use whatever you have. And as I said, if you don't have coconut oil, you can use olive oil, macadamia oil, avocado oil, whatever you have in your kitchen. Okay. All right. So where is my jar? So you're going to need another jar. So that's mine. Doesn't need to be a fancy one. You just want it to be clean because this product, so the scrub is going to be a mix of oil, coffee grounds, and sugar. So these are all dry ingredients. There's no water. So because there's no water, if your container is clean, you can actually keep it. Okay. So when you make a product that contains water, you have to think about preservatives, because water attracts bacteria. So whenever you make a product with water in it, it gets a little bit more complicated. But if there's no water, if it's just oils and dry powders, then you can actually put it in your jar, close it, and you can keep it. You don't have to use it right away. Okay. All right. So in the jar, what we're going to do is, so you can keep it for a year. And this actually makes a very good, very nice Christmas gift. So if you want to try it, see how it feels, but you can make some very nice Christmas gifts.
I was just thinking that they would make some great Christmas gifts in upcycled jars, so perfect.
Yes, they do. Yeah, they. And you can add some essential oils to that as well, so you can personalize it as well to what the person likes. Just remember, if you're giving it to someone who's pregnant or breastfeeding, don't use any essential oils. And this recipe, you're going to love it if you love the smell of coffee. If you don't like coffee, just stay clear of the coffee grounds, okay? Don't put them in there because your scrub is going to smell like coffee. Even with essential oils, you're not going to avoid that. So in our little jar, we're going to put 3 times the same quantity. So basically 1/3 of sugar, 1/3 of coffee grounds, and 1/3 of melted coconut oil, or avocado oil, or olive oil, or whatever other oil you've got. As I said, you can customize it. If you don't like coffee, just use more sugar. If you love coffee, you can use more coffee. You can customize it, okay? So to what you like. So I'll just repeat that. So 3 times the same quantity in your little jar. So 1/3 basically of each. So 1/3 of coffee grounds and 1/3 of sugar, and then 1/3 of oil. And then once you've done that, you just mix it, and you can add essential oils to it. So 4 or 5 drops. Okay. So I like brown sugar because it's a lot more fine than the white sugar, and it smells nice too as well.
And what a great way to use up those coffee grounds out of the kitchen.
Yeah, as long as they are dry. So if they're not dry, what you can do is just, so if you just made coffee and you've got some wet ones, just grab it, get whatever oil is on your bench top, and you can make a very quick and hand scrub on top of your sink. And then you can just rinse it, and you'll have the softest hands of any cook if you do it like that. So it's a way not to waste it.
Can we use caster sugar and other types of sugar?
We can, yeah. It's just they're a little bit stronger. So I find brown sugar is usually the less strong of all of them. You can use the other ones, they're just a bit stronger. So it depends on the sensitivity of your skin as well. So if you have very sensitive skin, you can just put a little bit less and then add more coffee. So I've just started with my sugar here, and then I'll add coffee. We actually don't drink coffee in my house. This is for my parents-in-law. So don't tell them. Well, they're in France anyway, so they're not going to be visiting soon, so I may as well use it.
Are you using unused coffee grinds?
So these ones are unused because we don't use any. As I said, if you want to use ones that have been used, if they are wet, you need to use straight away because of the water. So I'll just show what I was doing. So I've just added the coffee grounds on top. If you want to use, if they've been wet, you can also dry them. So you can dry them in the oven, and then you can use them in this recipe. Okay, but if they're wet, yeah, you can use them to make a scrub and use on the same day, but you cannot keep the scrub with wet coffee grounds in it. Where's my oil? Yep, and I'll just add the oil on top. Okay. And I'll just mix that.
This looks and smells good enough to eat, Lily.
Yeah, is everybody hungry already?
So what's the best way to dry used grounds? So you did mention in the oven.
Yeah, you can use the oven, which is the best one. You can, yeah, I find it's the most efficient way, sorry. If it's a little bit runny, the texture, don't forget the oil is going to solidify as well. So it's not going to be so liquid. Okay. And the way to use this scrub, so it's a scrub, okay, so it needs to be rinsed. That's beautiful, Mel. So it needs to be rinsed. So you put it under the shower, and then you scrub, and then you enjoy it, and then you rinse it.
And I would imagine if you don't want to use your oven, you could probably leave those grounds outside in the sun as long as it's not a windy day. That would be another way to dry them out. Dehydrator if you've got one.
Yeah, that's a really good idea, dehydrator. Living outside, I would never trust Melbourne weather. But
Very true, Lily.
It may be very sunny, but there's no guarantee 30 minutes later it's going to be sunny. But yeah, of course you can leave them outside if you're not a risk-adverse person as I am. But yeah, dehydrator or oven are great ways. Or you can even look it up online. I'm sure there's other ways as well. But the most popular one is the oven. I think we're all going to be pampering ourselves tonight. That's good. We need a little bit of pampering at the moment.
We do indeed.
And it's guilt-free pampering because we've been reusing and we're taking care of ourselves and taking care of our little planet, which is good. Is there any other questions on these little scrubs?
So we're just getting one typing at the moment, so I'm just waiting for it to come through.
Mm-hmm.
Is the sugar meant to dissolve in the oil?
It doesn't usually, unless your oil is maybe very hot. It never happened to me, but maybe it does. I don't know, never happened to me. Maybe if the oil is very, very hot. But usually it shouldn't. Instant coffee, I've never tried, Susan. I've never tried. What's important is just to use fine ground, so not too large. But that's pretty much it.
I think it's definitely worth an experiment.
Yeah. It's all about experimenting and having fun with it. Okay, so can you use raw sugar instead of brown sugar? You can, definitely. But as I said, if your skin is a little bit more sensitive, I would invite you to use a little bit less because raw sugar is a stronger exfoliating powder than brown sugar usually.
And if you're only using sugar, can you put colour dyes in it to make it look pretty? I love that idea.
Yes, you can. Just go in your kitchen and find colors. Just don't use turmeric because you're gonna end up yellow. But some ideas. So there's, I think, in the blog link for my little lotion bar, I use matcha green tea, so which is green. So that's a good one. What else could you? Some oils as well have color, like avocado oil. So that can give it a little bit of green color as well. You can also add like flower petals to it. You can be creative. Dry petals, I mean. So they have to be dry. What else could you add?
I think some lavender petals would go really well in there.
Yeah, typically.
What would be good essential oils for the coffee scrub?
Something relaxing and that you like. Something that makes you feel good and beautiful and happy. And we all have very different tastes. Lavender is a good one for before sleep because it has a calming aroma, so calming smell. So it's a really good one to smell before going to sleep. Ylang ylang is aphrodisiac, so depending on your objective here, you can try ylang ylang. Just a warning, if you don't like the smell of flower, don't go with ylang ylang because it's very flowery, very tropical. But yeah, it's you just want something that to you smells nice. There's not an essential oil is not gonna exfoliate you more than whatever is in your scrub. So you just want something nice, and you can mix the essential oils too. Yeah, and I don't know if it's for Christmas, you can put frankincense, which is another word I can't pronounce, but like oils that smell like Christmas. You can do that too. And also, if you want to customize it, you can also get some nice labels. It's also a good way to customize it for gifts. Especially for Christmas, nice ribbons. Yeah, plenty of way to make it look very nice and exotic and special. Thank you, Karen.
I think somebody was writing a question before, but it hasn't come up yet. So if I haven't read out your question, please feel free to pop it in again because it seems to have disappeared from my end. If you just rethought your question, then that's okay as well. Just want to make sure nobody misses out on asking their question. Lots of thank yous coming through, which is great.
Thank you.
So other than the citrus oils, are there any other oils we should avoid when we're making natural products?
So all the oils, they've got some specificities, I guess. So the ones you really need to be wary about are the photosensitive ones, so the citrus ones. Another one that's pretty popular, which is Clary Sage. This one, I don't recommend it if you've got some hormonal balance issues. Some people say it helps, some people say it doesn't. It's an oil that's gonna change how your hormones work. And there's no studies actually showing if it helps or if it doesn't help. So for instance, in my case, I have endometriosis. So I used to use Clary Sage a lot in my solid shampoos. And when I found out I had endometriosis, I stopped because it's a hormonal condition. And so if you've had like breast cancer or any of these hormonal issues, I would recommend staying clear of Clary Sage. I can't really think of any other oils that's popular and that has some big warning signs on it. Not really.
Nope, that's good to know. And just remember, as good as it smells to eat, once you've put essential oils as well, keep it out of the mouth.
Yes. So yeah, essential oils you can't eat. Yeah. And keep it out of the kids as well. Especially if it has sugar in it as well, they may be like, oh, yummy, yummy. But if it has essential oils, no.
The coffee in itself, I'm sure, would.
Yeah, possibly.
Okay, we might open it up to a bit of a wider question now that we've made our 2 products tonight. So if you have any questions in general about beauty products that Lily might be able to answer tonight, please feel free. We've set aside some time at the end for that wider questioning. So now's the time to get them. If you would like to come on and ask your question, just let me know or raise your hand and I can get you to jump on and ask the questions that you might have. See a few people typing away, which is always good.
So it can be questions on skincare or hair care. So the deodorant caddy you can keep for a year, because as long as your jar was clean, then yeah, because there's no water in it.
Great question. And I would definitely recommend everybody jumping on Lily's website because there's lots of more information in those blogs there as well.
Yeah, there's the blog I haven't updated much in a long time. I've been very busy with the workshops, but yeah, there's some recipes there you can try, and even there's some products. And if you just open the products, there's like a list of where you can use them and how you can make recipes with them as well. So that may be useful. Do you have any recipe for natural eyeshadow? I do for my personal ones, but I don't teach it yet. The thing with eyeshadow is that you need to buy some very specific ingredients. It's not possible to use stuff from your kitchen. And what I find from my personal experience is it's ingredients that are so specific that very often you don't use them again. So it's not very zero waste as well. So yeah, I don't teach it at the moment. It's not really hard to make. It's just hard to find ingredients to make eyeshadow. And bear in mind as well that natural handmade eyeshadow it's just like organic makeup you may have tried before. It's not waterproof.
So you mentioned before that you make your shampoo bars as well.
Yeah, solid shampoo bars, yeah.
How do you define them as opposed to a liquid shampoo bar? Shampoo.
A lot better. I've been making them for 10 years, so they're actually one of the most popular products that I teach, the natural shampoo bars. They're easy to make, but so they take maybe 10-15 minutes to make. But you do need some specific ingredients, especially you need what's called a surfactant, which is basically what's going to clean your hair. What's important about shampoo bars is that when you buy them, some people came to me and said, I bought shampoo bars and they don't work. They're not meant to be soap. So sometimes you can find some soaps and that are sold as shampoo bars, but for many people it doesn't work. So there's actually some specific ingredients for the shampoo bars. So yeah, it shouldn't dry out your hair too much, and so you can always use conditioner after, but whatever shampoo you're using shouldn't dry out your hair. Yeah, should still be a little bit moisturizing, I guess. And the good thing with shampoo bars is you actually make them from scratch, so you know exactly which ingredients you're using. And it's like the deodorant, you decide on your essential oils. For instance, if you've got lots of dandruff, you may use cedarwood, which is a really good one for that, cedarwood essential oil. So you kind of, because you customize it from scratch, it should work for you. Kind of. That's the whole principle of making your own, that you control everything that you're using.
And I guess a great lead-on question to that, Caddy, did you want to jump on and ask your question, or are you happy for me to ask it for you? Okay, so do you use a conditioner bar? I've used a shampoo one, but it's not moisturising enough. So I guess, you know, in what you've just said, would you use a conditioning bar afterwards?
You can if you need it. The only thing to keep in mind with conditioners is that you're actually meant to use them from here to in that direction. So that part shouldn't really need it usually. If it needs it, it means your shampoo is too drying, kind of. And conditioner, whatever you're using, just do check ingredients, because a lot of them are made with palm oil, and a lot of them contain ingredients that are not biodegradable as well. So yeah. Making conditioner is actually, it's something else I teach. It's very similar to making a lotion. If you need some more moisturizing for your hair as well, you can just use plain oils as well. So it's called an oil bath, which doesn't seem very sexy. But it's about using oils, like coconut oil is actually a good one. You put it on where you would normally use your moisturizer. Usually you put it on at night, so before going to sleep, and in the morning you wash your hair. So you just give it time to absorb. And it shouldn't be too oily, like you shouldn't have oil dripping on your shoulders. It shouldn't damage your bed sheets. But it's actually really good to moisturize and keep your hair healthy. So you can try that. And so there's coconut oil, that's really good. Otherwise, a good one is argan oil. Or it's also called Moroccan oil, and it's a very famous oil for that type of use.
Do you use any items from your garden in any of your products?
So I use my aloe vera because sometimes so I actually sell aloe vera gel, which is not from my aloe vera, and I find, because I use aloe vera gel every day, but if I need aloe vera for instance, if I get sunburn and I need a big quantity and I want to use it pure, then in that case I would just use the aloe vera from my garden. So yeah, if you have an aloe vera plant, you can definitely use it if you get sunburn. Just when you use it, just make sure you only get the juice inside the plant, not the sap around it. So you just want the juice that's inside. But it's really good for sunburn. I think that's pretty much it from what I'm using for my garden. I'm trying to grow my own vegetables this year. We see how that goes. It's not easy when you don't know if it's a vegetable or a weed.
Good luck with that one. We've got some past events if you'd like to have a look on our website, because we have run some gardening events.
I have photos of veggies next to weeds, so I know which one to remove.
Oh, I think there's lots of beginner gardeners out there this year, so there's lots of people in the same position that you are there as well, Lily. Yeah. Well, I think, there's no more questions in the chat. We've got our 2 great products that you've been making tonight. So please feel free to jump on our Facebook and send a picture. I'd be really keen to see what you've produced out there tonight. What if you're on tonight and you would like Lily's email and the website and the other things I popped in the link, just send me an email, just hit reply rather than me spamming everyone that has, if you're not after that. So hit reply on your email and I can send them out to you as well. Just before we finish up, I did just want to share with you some upcoming events in the EnviroCentre. So we are running lots of events at the moment. So next week, next Wednesday night, the 7th of October, we have Tyson Young-Porter coming in, and he's written the book Sand Talk, How Indigenous Thinking Can Change the World. And so he's going to be talking about some of those really big critical thinking topics from his book. So that's next Wednesday, 7th of October. And then on the 14th of October, also Wednesday night, we have Erin Lewis Fitzgerald talking about her new book, Modern Mending. So, you know, rather than throw stuff out once it's got a hole or missed a button or needs a bit of hemming, she's going to be talking about all those easy fixes that we can do in our clothes to make them last a little bit longer. With fast fashion, especially, like a lot of our clothes are ending up in landfill. So how can we keep them out of that landfill? And then in November, Wednesday the 7th of November, we've got a event all about indoor plants and how to keep them alive. So that's on our website to book as well. And then on the 13th of November, we've got a kitchen garden remedies event. So that's how to use some of the plants you're growing in your garden for some of those health products that you might be wanting to make as well. So lots of great events coming up. Jump on our website, they're all there ready for you to book. But thank you so much, Lily, for your time tonight. Thank you for helping us. You know, a lot of times, exactly as you said, these are very simple recipes and simple techniques, but you know, that getting past the line of starting and taking that first step is, I think, where a lot of us need that encouragement and that help. So I know I've been thinking about doing it for ages and I never have before, so my first ones are done, and hopefully everyone else out there will get on board with making some products of their own, and we might all be giving them to our friends and family for Christmas. So thank you very much, Lily. Thank you to everybody else who came in tonight and logged on. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you at our next EnviroCentre event.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for sharing that evening with me. Take care, enjoy, and yeah, pamper yourselves. Take good care of yourselves. Bye-bye.